And welcome back to Who Would Win. Today's Who Would Win comes to us from Rico Lemon, who asked the question. And I want to be clear, I might be wrong on the spelling, because it might have been Omni-Man you asked me to fight Optimus Prime, not Omnimon. But, I mean, that's a different fight entirely that I could do. But I think it was Omnimon, the Digimon you asked me to do, not Omni-Man from Invincible, versus Optimus Prime. Now, because the whole idea of like a transformer, I guess that kind of works. Saviors in some regard. Omni-Man makes at least a little bit more sense because he is an alien being sent to Earth to enslave it, but then ultimately protect it. But look, I'm just going what I'm going with. Optimus Prime is from a long race of primes. Optimus is millions of years old. Has been constantly fighting on the battlefield for most of his existence to try to save his home world and give it freedom from the oppression of the Decepticons, like Megatron and so forth. So he is a seasoned warrior, has multiple weaponry on his person. Usually in the form of blasters, energy sword. The energy swords, I'll admit, I'm not a big fan of the live-action Transformers. When Optimus Prime pulls out the energy swords on his wrists, on his arms, pretty badass. And just like, raw, that's Prime. It's still pretty cool. He got a giant blaster as well. He can survive in the vacuum of space. Size-wise, Optimus' size can vary from incarnation to incarnation. The average size, hold on, Optimus Prime. Optimus, there we go. Optimus Prime. Let's see here. Do they give a general size for Optimus? Or, I mean, again, given the fact that we've had different interpretations of him, it can vary. For instance, the movie version of him, do we have a size on that? Biography, I mean, geez, that's a lot. That's a big biography. Holy crap. Wow, they don't even give me a size on the movie version, which you would think would be that easy. 1 second. His vehicle mode is a Freightliner FL86 equipped with a signature ion blaster. Maybe a little weapon we see in the movie, but he does have many more. So yeah, I mean, you can attribute his size in comparison to something like that, but the general gist is Optimus is not a huge individual by Transformer standards. He's roughly the size of a house, and that's big. But Omnimon is maybe half that size. If Optimus stands at roughly like 30 feet tall, Omnimon's closer to like a 12, 15 foot tall. Tall, but not. Omnimon is the smaller of the two. As I said, Optimus has millennia, if not millions of years worth of fighting experience. Can survive huge explosions to the face. Carries the Allspark with him, which, carries... if I'm remembering how the Allspark works... 1 second here. If I'm remembering how the Allspark works... the sacrifice he made weighed heavily on his spark, but they must be done. There is no other choice. He knows the ambitions that lurk within Megatron's spark, and they must never see the light. Lives must be kept free from threat of Megatron's tyranny, no matter what. Well, anyway, Optimus' spark is special among the Autobots. As I can't remember exactly why his spark is special. I think it's because it carries a portion of like the Allspark, which is kind of like their origin point, and so he carries a portion of that power with him and can use that to fire off massive blasts and attacks and kind of reincarnate almost. So, I mean, Optimus has been defeated numerous times and killed on several occasions in different continuities. So, Optimus is not infallible by any stretch of the mean. Omnimon, another being who is not necessarily infallible, but extremely powerful. Omnimon is the result of a DNA Jogress fusion between a more Greymon and a Metal Garurumon more times than not. There are other versions of Omnimon, to be sure. There's Merciful Mode, where he also combines with others, including Hercules, Kabuterimon, Vikemon, Rosemon, Ho'omon, Seraphimon, and Magdramon, and Omnimon Zoart. There are also Slide Phone, Alter S, and modes where he even fuses with others, including Shoutmon Superior Mode and Imperial Dramon Paladin Mode. But he is a warrior and one of the Royal Knights, one of the 12 Guardians of the digital world, and therefore is an extremely powerful Digimon in his own right. He's actually not a Mega, he's a super level, or Ultra, depending on how you look at it. In the games, like Cybersleuth, I think they are referred to as Ultra, which is the level even beyond a Mega. There are only a handful of Digimon on that level of power. But he's extremely powerful. Not invincible, but certainly difficult to put down. His attacks include Supreme Cannon, where he freezes the opponent with frigid absolute zero shots fired from the Garuru Cannon that he has on his right arm. Transcendent Sword, where he slashes the Gray Sword with basically a fiery aura. Double Shot, where he successfully fires fire and ice from War Greymon and Metal Garurumon's head. Ultimate Uppercut, which is basically just an uppercut with fire, and he blasts them with the Garuru Cannon. Transcendent Sword, again, with the Great Sword, but with the Omega Sword, he charges the Gray Sword and then cuts definitively. Sword of Ruin, he rends the air with his Gray Sword to produce a large explosion. Omni Howling, attacks with a howl that can shake the world. That's an impressive feat. That's a planetary level feat. And drops an Omni Blast, drops lightning on the opponent. Double Trench combo, and Brave Shield just blocks the Brave Shield, which is highly durable. He also allegedly has an ability called Alt Delete, if I remember correctly, but that might have just been from for the movie they did a while back, which was dealing with the X antibody thing. And we should note that, like Alphamon, who has his own ability, Alpha Inforce, Omegamon actually has, or Omnimon, he's also known as Omegamon, has something called the Omega Inforce, short for Omega Gain Force, and sometimes called the Mega Force. It's an ultimate force that was acquired by Omnimon and inherited by Omnimon X. It allows Omnimon X for Omnimon to instantaneously read ahead in battle, and essentially very long farsight, and respond accordingly, making it theoretically impossible to defeat. It also draws out and raises the combat sense potential to their utmost limits by the means of the X antibody. Since we're not dealing with Omnimon X, that doesn't really matter here. No matter circumstances. However, Diaboromon X's fighting style was too erratic for even the Omniforce to properly predict. So basically, an erratic enough opponent can bypass this ability. Omnimon also bestowed the Omega Force onto Shoutmon. That doesn't matter at all. So, who would win in a fight between these two? Well, first off, these are two characters that probably wouldn't be fighting unless for some reason Optimus made it to the digital world and was deemed as a threat to the digital world. That is an actual scenario where Omnimon would then get involved, and they might have a fight. Now, 9 times out of 10, honestly, I don't think they would fight. Optimus would probably explain who he is, why he's there, and they'd be like, "Oh, well, sorry for this mistake." "No, I'm sorry for my mistake." "Hey, we're good, right?" "Absolutely, we're good." "Oh, yeah, want to go get a digi snack?" "I don't really eat, but I'll keep you company." Like that. Or they would team up. So obviously they wouldn't really fight. But if for some reason a scenario happened where they fought, who would win? And I think while their size difference is one thing, Optimus, I think, is larger by a decent margin than, although it all depends on your depiction of Omnimon is the problem. In the games, Omnimon is not depicted as being that much, I mean, he's taller than a human, but only by like 2 or 3 times, which is only like 15 feet high. However, in the anime, he is depicted as being a lot taller. So it really, I mean, I don't know. Do they have a height on Omnimon on here? Because I got the Digimon wiki up. Do they have a height? I don't see one. Let me see what height they have here for Omnimon. Omnimon height. Nope. There we go. Height. Do we have a height for Omnimon? Let's find out. Around, okay, no, they give measures around to the tip of the sword. He scales right around 27.8 feet tall. Okay, so we do have an actual height for Omnimon. What about Optimus? Can I actually legitimately get an Optimus Prime? Oh, height. Okay. Okay, Optimus, instead of being the leader, Autobot Prime was actually a washout from the elite guard. Despite no longer being married, he maintains his military rank of Prime. The scaling chart released for the series indicates that he's around 22 feet tall. Okay, so Optimus's height still varies throughout continuity, but it seems around like the 20 range is the accepted amount, 22. So Omnimon actually is taller than Optimus. So yeah, that's why I occasionally look this stuff up, because I mean I'm only so well versed in these things, and I love Digimon. I love Digimon a lot more than I love Transformers, and know more about it than Transformers. Didn't know that. So Omnimon's got a good head over. And he's not drastically taller than Optimus, but if Optimus is right at the 50% mark here at 22 feet high, Omnimon stands there, so he is larger for certain. But Optimus, I will say, definitely has the edge in combat experience, way more experience long term, millions of years old versus Omnimon, who the digital world has really only existed, as far as we know, since digital technology existed. It's because that's the thing. We don't actually know. That's another question. I can look that up. That's a really good question. How old is the digital world? How old is the digital there we go. Digital world. There we go. How old is the digital world? From Digimon. Let's actually put Digimon in there so they know not like. Okay, Digimon. Do they give how old is the digital world Digimon? The digital world was discovered thanks to the use of Digimon computer capture software and was announced publicly in 1977. Every year, the digital world expanded infinitely. Okay, so I mean, let's be honest though, it's mostly because of this whole what the digital world is. It probably is not much older than the advent of digital technology. So yeah, Omnimon maybe, but now we do know to be fair, time passes very differently in that world. A few minutes here is like can be months or decades there, and a few weeks or to months here can be hundreds, if not thousands of years there. So even though the digital world has only existed for a short time, comparatively, honestly, because the Royal Knights have existed near the inception of the digital world, the Omnimon actually might be in the same age range as Optimus. So I mean, but if they were to duke it out, Optimus would probably be the aggressor. Probably firing off shots with his Ion Blaster. Omnimon either just blocks it, dodges it, or just pulls out the Brave Shield. Because he has the Omniforce, this makes this fight very difficult for Optimus Prime, and this is due to the fact that any move he has, it can already be predicted, seen, and countered pretty much. Add on the fact that Omnimon apparently does have a size advantage and can fire blasts that basically hit with the power of absolute zero, which, let's be very clear, space itself is actually not absolute zero. Space, there's no atmosphere in space, so you are constantly getting bombarded with all the forms of radiation and lack thereof. So you're constantly both freezing and burning at the same time, depending on where you are located. If you were to be placed near the sun, you would feel all that heat coming your way and feel the icy cold vacuum of space at the same time. But that's not absolute zero. Absolute zero is the pinnacle of cold. Like, you can't go any colder than that. And even then, people say there's arguments that cold does not really exist. Like the concept of cold and temperature. I get that, but no. Like, it's clear. The way you perceive something, like some people argue time doesn't really exist. Time is illusions. Like, no, time is how we measure the passage of events. That we have a word for that. It's called time. Time is the passage of events, and therefore things change as those events continue on and repeat and cycle and so forth. Ergo, we need a word for that, and that is called time. We feel temperature differences. And when we feel burning, what sensation called burning, that's because of heat. When we feel a sensation called cold, or when we start to shiver, we feel cold. So yes, maybe not in the technical definition, but in the overall definition, Yeah, it does exist. Point being, while Optimus can survive in a vacuum, that does not mean he could survive a shot from an absolute zero blast, or blast of absolute zero. Add on to the fact that Omnimon just seems to have a wider array of overall power that he can, and attacks that he can throw at Optimus. Optimus does have the advantage of two swords, but even though one's a cannon, one's a sword for Omnimon, you can still block with a handle and block with a brave shield. Not to mention you still have a freaking F-off sword, and you still have the Omega Force. The one thing that Optimus would have that Omnimon doesn't is his spark that he can use to basically attack someone and just blast someone with it. But the question would be, would that be strong enough to put Omnimon down, or would Omnimon have the strength to actually counter that? In my opinion, Omnimon probably has the strength to counter that, because he's honestly gone toe-to-toe with individuals far stronger than Optimus when you break it down. Diaboromon, Apocalypse, although he did get beaten by Apocalypse, he still was able to go fight toe-to-toe with Apocalypse and lend its power to Imperial Dramon fighter mode. Then you obviously got to factor in, now obviously Diaboromon X was a little too much for him, but then he's also a member of the Royal Knights and considered one of the strongest members of the Royal Knights. This includes individuals like Magnamon, who literally has a luck ability. You have Leopardmon, who is the strategist and the most agile, or has the most flexible armor of them. You have All Force Vidramon, who is the fastest. No, actually, no, that's Centauramon. Centauramon, who's the fastest of them. It can move at light speeds. All Force Vidramon has literally the All Force, which gives him insane regenerative capabilities. You have Crusadramon and Durogreymon, was it? Who are just also very powerful in their own right. You have individuals who arguably could just take a planet out on their own if they really want. Oh, and then there's Examon, who's literally the largest and pure power, who's the Kenpachi of the group, basically, if you're going by Bleach terms, who's pure power and destruction incarnate. I used one on my my original Cyber Sleuth playthrough. Man, that was a lot of fun. That was hard to get, too. I had to get 2 megas and then digivolve them together. But and then you have to factor in that Omnimon has literally planetary level attacks. One of Omnimon's attacks is described as being able to literally shake the world. What was it? The sort of Omni-Howling attacks with a howl that can shake the world. That is literally a planetary level attack. Optimus doesn't have a planetary level attack, to the best of my knowledge. Even when being amped, he's not a planetary level threat in that sense. He's powerful, but he's just this is not a mismatch. But his Optimus could definitely put up a fight, throw punches, hit, but he just doesn't have any weaponry on call that could really do anything to Omnion, or an ability that could counter the Omniforce. So, in my opinion, Omnimon is the one who would win this fight ultimately if they had to fight. But this is just my opinion. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. By the way, Rico, let me know if you actually meant Omni-Man. And we'll get to that again at some point, at another point in time. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. See you later.